is Benji Cole, son of Al Cole from CBS Radio and host of the syndicated talk show, People of Distinction. A talk that gives you an in-depth view of some of the most dynamic, intelligent, and successful people on the planet. Run to our website, alcoleenterprises.com for more info. Email me through benji@alcoleenterprises.com if you'd like to get involved with what we have going. And as always, please continue to like and follow our broadcasts. People of Distinction is internationally syndicated solely due to the love and support that you all continue to give. We're available across all major distributors, and as long as you keep following, we're going to continue to put out the content. Now sit back and strap in, because on the line with us today, we have the impressive Carol Kappes. Now we're going to be discussing her amazing poetry book, To Hear Your Voice. Available for purchase through Amazon, Barnes & Noble, all the regular online book resellers. But if you want to gather everything that Carol has in store, well, people, you got to check out her personal site, okay? That's author carolkappes.com. There, you're going to find more information on her book, hyperlinks set up to take you to the purchasing pages. Man, I'm telling you, it truly is a one-stop shop for everything that she has in store. Again, that's author carolkappes.com. And I want to quickly take this opportunity and point out the fact that Carol was brought to our network by one of the best firms in the business. People you already know, I'm talking about Citi of Books. So if you're a writer out there who has gone through their process creating your masterpiece, and now you need help moving that book you just developed, well, look no further than Citi of Books, people, because this is exactly what they specialize in. Head on over to citiofbooks.com and gather all the ways that their fantastic team is going to help you do just that. And listen, people, trust me when I tell you, it is a true pleasure to have Carol here on the line. As I mentioned, her book, To Hear Your Voice, is a poetry book, but it is a poetry book unlike any other. It is motivational. It is inspirational. It is meant to help you as the reader feel at ease, have success in your journey. And I'm going to quickly pause here and say that notion of feeling at ease, I mean, if you are all like me, you understand that with each passing day, man, life has another obstacle that it's going to throw at you that's going to try to derail you from that ease that you may have acquired the day before. Well, a poetry book like this is going to help you recenter. With words that heal and wisdom that empowers, this is your dose of motivation that you don't want to miss. This is much larger than just a book of poetry. I'm telling you, whether you yourself feel that you're a poetry lover or you're just seeking a little light in your life, trust me when I tell you, Carol is here to guide your way. This book is the start, but it is a wonderful beginning. Sit back, strap in, and make sure you're paying attention, okay? Carol, first and foremost, welcome to People of Distinction, and thank you very much for being a guest. How are you?
I'm doing well, Benji, and thank you for having me on here. My name is Carol Kappes, and I'm the author.
Absolutely. Carol, listen, we're looking forward to this. I think, as someone that has always admired poetry, but I would not categorize myself as a lover of poetry. I don't have anything against it, but it's just not something that I ever gravitated towards. There is something about your book of poetry that's got me intrigued, Carol. It's got me here. I'm looking forward to this discussion, and I know my listening audience is as well. First and foremost, let's learn a little bit more about yourself and your background. Who is Carol Kappes?
Yes, I was a lover of poetry since high school, and I loved William Shakespeare, Edgar Allan Poe when we had the English classes. And then I went on for my own life, and I was a farm girl, and I went to become a dental assistant. And so my whole career has been that, working for a dentist. Mm-hmm. And when I hear all these patients and see these patients and hear what their stories are, it kind of gave me the inspiration to be writing little words of wisdom, so to speak. And that's how I got it into the poetry. I call my book actually Verses, because it starts from the beginning of life, which is birth, and it ends to the death of life. And in between is all the things that we go through in our emotional state. Because like William Shakespeare, I'm an emotional and expressive writer.
Yeah.
And so you're going to enjoy those stories as we go along.
Absolutely. Listen, Carol, you're speaking to the artist in me. You mentioned Shakespeare, you mentioned Poe. I tell you, I had the complete works of Edgar Allan Poe by the time I was in the 7th grade. I had the complete works of William Shakespeare by the time I was a junior in high school. This is something right up my alley, something I love, and I'm right there for it. Okay, here we go. Carol, I'm curious here. Your book, of course, as I've mentioned, as you have mentioned, it's meant to motivate. It's meant to inspire. Now, I also understand that the optimist in me is always looking at the glass half full, always looking for how to succeed, and things are moving in that direction. But there is a part of me that is also a realist, and I understand that every single passing day, there are obstacles in our path that battles against the optimism that I always feel. So my question to you, when you were creating and crafting this book, how did you approach writing poetry that balanced inspiration with practicality for everyday life?
It's your way of thinking. When something bad happens, you don't have to cry and fuss over it. There's a way of changing your thinking around and say to yourself, why is this happening? What is the cause of this? And get further down and think further. So we're out of the box thinking, so to speak.
Yeah, I love that. And that's a notion that I can always get behind in terms of the power of perception, the power of your mind creating the reality in front of you.
Yes, that's what you'll notice in this book. You're going to feel like you're sometimes with me as we're taking on the course of life.
Okay, well, let's stick on that notion for a little bit longer. How do you address the concept of failure or struggle in your poetry while still maintaining that uplifting tone?
Well, I've had failure where I was unemployed, and so during that time, along with looking for jobs, I also took a computer course. So you can always do that, or volunteer somewhere, or help any schools. Sometimes have volunteers or senior centers. Yeah. Look for things to do so that then you can put that on your resume that you worked there or, helped out. And so you're spreading your life, you're spreading yourself into more knowledge.
Carol, I'm curious, throughout this writing process, how would you say your writing of this book changed your own perspective on life, success, and even emotional well-being?
Well, after I wrote them, then I put them in order, and I titled the chapter with just one word. Like I started with life, nature, emotion, venture, duty, role, and so on. And sometimes these verses just came when I'm driving or I'm working, and I had to stop and jot them down because I don't have a very good memory. So I know they're a gift that I had to just write it, and that's how a lot of them came to be. I don't just sit down and write. I'm not an author, so to speak, career author, but they just came. And so during life circumstances and talking with other people, then it came on, like I'm trying to help people.
Right. People, I'm telling you, you got to purchase your copies. It's called To Hear Your Voice by Carol Kappes. Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and a lot of other places. Most importantly, check out her personal site, authorcarolkappes.com today. Carol, my follow-up question here, listen, I've held off, and I have a lot of other questions that we're going to go into, but I would be remiss if I didn't ask. This is a book of your fantastic poetry. Well, do you happen to have one readily available that you could share with our listening audience?
Yeah, I have one by memory, actually, and it was one of my beginning ones. It's titled Memories. I spent the other evening thinking about you, and my, did I feel so blue. Tears surfaced rushing down my face when reflections of you came into place. Being apart, I often realized your life with me was a wonderful surprise. How we cherish those happy moments together will stay with me now and forever. That was kind of my beginning one in 1986, and I did label the years that these were written.
Oh, wow.
And it goes from the age of 20 to, I would say, 50.
Mm-hmm.
And I will have a second book out someday when I probably finish dental work.
There you have it. You know, I want to make this connection, and this is an assumption on my part, so you know what happens when you assume. I'm taking a risk here, Carol. But listening to that poem, it doesn't have to signify a relationship between a significant other, but that's instantly what came to mind, right? You're talking about the memories, and it appears to be love lost, right? Or, like I said, it could be a loss of a loved one or passing or something. But that was my initial interpretation as I heard it. Well, then I look at your title, To Hear Your Voice, which also gives me the impression of, well, you're talking about to hear someone's voice. Well, it doesn't mention whose voice. That could be a spiritual voice. That could be similar, again, a passing of a loved one that is no longer here. Connect the dots for me in terms of, A, the inspiration behind the poem you just shared with us, but also the title of your book and the connection that it has with your poems.
That's a very good question, Benji. I'm glad you asked it, actually. It's double meaning, to hear your voice.
Mm-hmm.
The double meaning is I was talking with people around the world or family, friends, and I got a lot of info for my book and into the verses, the stories, and also to hear your voice from the God, the divinity, where he rushed words into my thoughts and I wrote it down. So it's a two meaning, it was easy to title. It's a new book. It's like a new era. It's a new book, like a new era of 2024. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Never seen or read before.
There you have it. Well, Carol, I'm going to play devil's advocate here, and I'm going to do something that I know as an artist myself is always difficult to answer. But here it is. Let's throw the wrench in there, and let's just clog things up. Do you happen to have a favorite poem that you've written?
Yes, because I'm born in the snow area. We're supposed to get a snowstorm pretty soon. I write a few of those, and I write about all the weather and all that stuff. And, well, there's a lot of them. I have a lot of favorites.
Well,
see,
that defeats the purpose of the question there, Carol. You're cheating now. You can't do that. The purpose of this is, like I said, so as an artist myself, my background is in filmmaking. I've comprised a lot of projects. I've acted in so many. It's very difficult for me to look across my resume and say, this particular project meant more to me than others. Now, of course there are. It's kind of like naming a child that you have that is your favorite if you have multiple. And it's like, parents are going to get themselves in trouble if they ever do it. Well, Carol, that's the fun of the question. Let's get ourselves into some trouble here. What would you say is the favorite, the one that peaks it all?
Well, there's another one I wrote about parents. A lot of times we have parents to guide us, and I'll read this. Those golden years. Many parents are becoming old in years, and it sometimes brings my eyes to tears. Their life becomes limited in what they've done to raise up their children that are already gone. It soon becomes our turn to watch and care for them, and we'll realize then they were precious as a gem. So life is a circle. We're young, and then we become old, and this book tells you everything about life.
So talk to me the inspiration behind that one. What brought this one on?
This I can't seem to remember. Probably thinking about a grandparent that died, something on that sort of line. And then when I was social networking with the world and stuff, I would talk with friends and that. And this one's inspired from networking. It's titled A Porcelain Doll. You are so special and beautiful. You are so detailed and attractive. You are so delicate and fragile. You are so exquisite and spotless. You are so charming and mine. So there I'm thinking of a lover seeing his girlfriend like a porcelain doll. Lots of good things in here. You don't want to miss this book.
Oh, yeah, Carol, you took the words right out of my mouth. I love it. Absolutely. As we start to close out here, I'm curious to know, listen, we understand what the book symbolizes, what it represents, what it can mean for so many readers out there. Well, here's the thing. People nowadays like things that are easily digestible. They like things that they can put a title on, and then they understand, oh, if this title works with me, I'll try it out. If it doesn't, then I let it go. And then they just automatically have preconceived notions. Well, I'm curious to hear your reflection on this next one. What advice would you give to readers who might feel disconnected from poetry but are still seeking inspiration in their lives?
My initial audience is everyone, particularly 15 and older, in all walks of life, in all careers, in all countries. The reason for this is because I wanted purpose in their lives. And what was your question again? Yeah. Okay. If you guys are wondering if this book is for you, I would say it is, because my initial audience is everyone, particular 15 plus and older, all walks of life, all careers, and all countries. You're going to find this book emotional. It's going to go within your soul, and it's going to help you understand more on why we are born. We all have a purpose in our lives.
People, listen, I know you are all like me. You're hooked. You don't need any more. I also know that the majority of you are already heading on over to purchase your copies. Well, for everyone else, I'm going to close out by saying it one last time. We're here on the line with Carol Kappes. We just finished discussing her amazing poetry book, To Hear Your Voice, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, author carolkappes.com. Head on over there, purchase your copies, and like she's already admitted, there's another book of poetry hopefully to be released sometime in the near future. Well, this is the challenge for all of you. By the overwhelming show of support, when you head on over there and purchase your copies of her book, that's going to be the message to tell her, that second one, you got to hurry up and release it, Carol. We're waiting for it. You know where to go. It starts with this one, To Hear Your Voice. Go and pick up your copies today. Carol, this has been a true pleasure, an absolute delight. Thank you once again for being a guest on People of Distinction.
And Benji, thank you so much. I appreciate you.